Hello, welcome back if you're joining us again, or welcome for the first time if you're finally joining our seasonal flavors series here at Carpigiani in North America and headquarters. I am Brian Albrecht, Chef Ambassador for Carpigiani, and besides owning my own shops, I kind of do this little fling on the side, don't I? So maybe you've been tuning in over the past few months where we've been making different flavors. Last time, you might have even caught us with a guest, Andia, from Andia's Ice Cream. And we did some cheese flavors last week. That was just last week, believe it or not. But this is our normal monthly series here. We kind of interjected that one into the role there. Today, we're going to be doing an ube flavor. So we kind of stopped and thought about what is the popular, or what are, I should say, the popular flavors kind of out there now. And ube, and of course, we can't forget Dubai chocolate, are two of those flavors that are just kind of hanging on. Dubai chocolate is going to be our second flavor today. I've got a table over here prepared with that material to go with that. We are going to do our own version of that because if you think about Dubai chocolate, and we'll talk a little bit more about this when we get there, it comes from a rich history, and there's lots of changes and things and tweaks that different companies make. But we're going to start off with the ube. And what I decided, I did not pour out my base today because I really kind of wanted to see or show you how to handle one of these big bladder bags. If you've ever seen one of these, maybe you're not quite sure how to handle that. It can be a little bit daunting at first, but once you get it, it's nothing. The other thing is I want to show you how do we take the ube paste, or any flavoring paste for that matter. A lot of the companies tend to give you a range, a percentage range. This company is Itaberco, and Itaberco is a great company. They got a lot of good flavor compounds that you can use in baking and in ice cream production as well. And on their label, they have, you can use it in frozen desserts, pastry, or you can even use it in beverages. Now, I don't know if I'd add ube to a beverage. Maybe there's the right one for. I guess Starbucks does have like some kind of ube cream, something like that, coffee out now. And that's another thing. Keep your eye on the Starbucks because they are good trendsetters. So this one says on the label, add 3 to 5% to the desired base or mix and increase dosage to personal taste. So exactly that. And we've kind of reiterated many times over in this series, as flavor artists, you have to decide what is right for you. And that's what makes artisan ice cream really kind of unique. So you go into one shop and you go to another shop and you go to another shop, and they all might have an ube, but they're all going to be slightly different because it's just based on how they make it. What amount do they choose to put in it? What add-ins do they choose to put in? That kind of thing. I've used, in my shop, I've used the Itaberco product. I've also used an Amaretti product. I've also, I think I've used just a straight up extract before. I've actually had in Frozen Dessert University, we had some Filipinas come through the classroom, and they wanted to interject their culture into the ice cream that they got to make. And they designed an ube flavor, which was really my first taste of it. It was right here at Carpigiani. And I really liked it. And so the last time I made it with, actually not Itaberco, I made it with a different product, and it's good, but I think I'm preferring this flavor. Whatever I did last time when I used this Itaberco, I really liked it. So hopefully we'll kind of nail that again today. But to get that 3 to 5% base, I need to weigh out the amount of base I put in here. Now, we're going to start with, we're making it on our Carpigiani Maestro here, which is a smaller batch freezer than I'm used to using. So I always dial down to about 3 liters here at Carpigiani when I'm making. So if in the recipe it's a per liter equivalent, you'll need to up that for whatever size machine you have. But 1 liter is generally where your home units are going to be. So if you're practicing some research and development at home, you could try to see, if this 1 liter recipe works, and you can tweak it there or not, So this has already been sanitized and ready, so we don't have to worry about that. I'm going to start first. I want to tear out my bucket. I don't want to weigh my bucket. I want to take that weight out. Now, both Itaberco, Amaretti, and several others offer you sort of a cheat sheet for figuring out that 3 to 5% level. So when you're starting to measure these, again, 3% is a kind of a lighter flavor. Obviously, if you're going to put more in, you're going to get a heavier flavor on it. Ube is one of those flavors you got to be careful with because the kids come into my shop and they see the purple. We call it purple moon, okay? And in our shop, I have it in front, and of course, what do the kids do? They eat with their eyes first, right? They're going to see the pinks and the blues and the purples and the reds, whatever color ice cream you might have in there. That's why Superman ice cream sells so well in a lot of places because it's just colorful ice cream. But the purple moon that I have, kids always say, I want that. And I'm like, have you tasted this yet? Because it is an acquired, more earthy taste to the ube. Ube is a sweet yam. It's a purple yam. It's actually not a purple sweet potato, as many people think. Purple sweet potatoes actually have a more drier consistency than the yams do, so the sweetness and the water in the yam helps to carry that flavor through. You can get yam extract. I think McCormick even makes it, but I think it's, I want to say it's imitation flavor through McCormick. You can get frozen at your, if you go out to the cultural grocery stores in your area, they may have it in their frozen area that's just basically already kind of like pulverized and frozen. And basically you can take that out and use that. Now you might have to add a little bit of moisture to it to get it to be like a paste. The easiest way really to do ube is with a flavor paste. But for homemakers, play around with the extracts and see what you think. That would be a great way before you invested in something like this. So I've tared out, I should say, my container. So what I'm going to do now is I want to pour in my 3 liters of my base. And to do that, I am going to show you a little bit about the bags. So this is not quite full because I've already removed some to make our chocolate paste, which we'll talk about when we get to our Dubai chocolate. But when this is full, it's a little bit heftier, a little bit more crazy to hold and control. It's a big bladder of dairy base. If you don't handle it right, you could end up all over the place. And yes, it does contain sugars and stuff, so it's kind of messy to clean up. So we're going to show you, if you take just imagine this to be a full bag, I'm going to face the nozzle or the opening away from me, and I'm going to basically choke the hole on the opening. Then I'm going to pop that cap off. So now I have control of whether any product is going to come out based on how I squeeze my right hand, okay? The next part is I'm going to pick it up kind of almost like a baby, right? I'm just picking it up. And that gives me more control of actually I'm kind of squeezing with my arm a little bit to kind of push that up and out, okay? Also, sometimes you'll see me kind of cradle it underneath it and go like that. I'm strong enough. Sometimes it's, they are hefty. They're about 35 pounds, I believe, or no, 25 pounds, sorry. 25 pounds when they're full. So if you can't lift 25 pounds, don't lift it because so you might also pull it from the corner and hold it. You can kind of see there on my shot how it just kind of creates a bladder that you can pour in. That's another, I like that way a lot of times. It gives me a little bit more control. And again, I am putting this in, and I've got still holding the neck of the bag. And I'm going to stop there. It's about 3 liters. And then I am going to immediately put my cap back on before I release it. And now I can lay it off to the side. I can definitely put it back in my refrigerator. It's good to go. Once it's been opened, a bladder like that should be used within 3 days. Okay, so don't let it sit there and go bad. All right, so now I'm going to take my base, going to put it on there, and I'm going to weigh that out. The other thing you can do is weigh it out in pounds. It's helpful because you're going to be really figuring out how much poundage you're going to use of this. If you're used to using grams, you could probably still do it with grams. I'm just used to doing this particular measurement in pounds. So that is telling me that I've got 7 pounds and 11 ounces in that bucket. So what I want to do, and I'm going to have to pull out my hefty calculator here, is I'm going to take that measurement, and I'm going to say on my calculator, I've got 7 pounds, 11, I'm just going to say 7 pounds. It just makes it a little bit easier just to round that down. Well, I'm just going to go 7.5. And then I'm going to divide that by either, if I want a 3%, I'm going to go at 0.97, or I'm going to go 4%, 0.96, 0.95. You get the point. Every time you go up in your percentage, you're going up in your, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. 0.95, 0.96, 97, 98, and then 100%. So what we want to do is say, I'm used to starting about 0.97, so that's a 3%. So I'm going to divide the 7 point by 0.97. And then I get my new number. And now I'm going to take my weight and subtract it from that. This is not as complicated as I'm making it sound. And then I get the amount of that I want to add into my base. So I'm going to try it again just to make sure I'm right, because I like to double check myself. So I'm just going to do 7 divided by 0.97. That gives me 7.216. So right now I can do that in my head, really. I can take that 7 pounds. Again, that's why I kind of made it easy. If I take 7 pounds away from the 7.216, I know I need 0.216 or 0.22 of my paste. Okay. So now I can choose, and this is another tip, kind of, I can choose to just pour my ube in there. If you're confident in your pouring abilities, but I'm going to tell you, every one of these pastes are just a slightly bit different. So some will pour slow, some will pour fast. So if I did that on there, I'm going to risk going over my weight that I want to put in there. So I need a 0.22 is what we said, right? So I might, believe it or not, it weighs up quickly. And I'm going to give that a little shake. Whew. We opened it here and somebody said, "Are you cooking something?" And it is. It's strong. It really does kind of hit you. Not a bad way. It just smells like something's cooking. All right, like you're cutting sweet potatoes or sweet yams. So I've got my scale tared out, and I'm going to put in 0.22 pounds. I still went over, but this is why I do it separately, because now this is a clean jar. I can pour it right back in and kind of get back to where it need to be. I can do that again if I tried. 0.22. All right. So now I want to take and put that right into my base. Need some smaller spatulas too. That would be good. Get these little containers. Again, remember, you weigh that 0.22 out. You want to try to get as much of that 0.22 out of your container as you can. Now, if you're really managing and watching, then you're going to add a percentage of waste there, because some of this is getting left in our measuring cup. So if you did go a little over, you'd probably be okay. And again, because I'm kind of staying on the sly side, I can go back and add a little bit more to it if I feel like it needs a little bit more oomph. But again, ube is one of those flavors I want to be careful with, because if you have the culture to support that flavor, great. If you don't, and you're introducing it because it's fun and it's colorful and it's trending, then play shy and just be careful with it. And if you make it again, or somebody's telling you, yeah, maybe you get somebody that comes in and they say, okay, it's good, but it could be a little stronger. That means they're familiar with ube and they like it, and they're looking for that flavor again. So I'm going to try to get all that stuff on the side too. I love purple is one of my favorite colors. So this is actually, I love when this is made, because I love the color ice cream it makes. It's natural. That's what's nice about this, is it's natural. It's not any artificial coloring. That's what's fun about it too. And I chose here today, again, I didn't have to immerse blend this in. You can see when I poured it out, it's very liquidy. So it blends right in with my ice cream base. Just want to give that a good stir. And of course, what do I keep telling y'all? Taste it. Because this is the time when you're going to say, okay, either it's too strong, not strong enough, or just right, which I think it's just right. So again, for me, especially in my clientele, this is sweet, but earthy at the same time. So that is the kicker with ube. It's got you either like it or you don't. That's what I've heard people say. You either like it or you don't. And I like it. I really like theirs the best. To me, it's even better than the one I'm using, which I'm going to be getting more of this one. I'm getting ready to order more. But I think this still has, I like to use a 0.97% to kind of start out with because it seems to hit my palate pretty well. If you, again, as the artist making your product, think, I'd like a little stronger oomph to it, dial it up, okay? What I like about this, and when I taste it, I still get kind of a sweet, creamy taste coming through, which is what I should because I want it's ice cream and I want that base to come through, okay? So that's all we have to do to this one, and this one's ready. So we're gonna pop this one in the machine, batch freeze it, and then we'll do our table switch and switcheroo and get ready for our Dubai. So again, this is kind of cool because it's just, if you can see, I'm gonna kind of lift it up so you see how pretty lavender and purple is. Perfect for spring. I mean, that's not, helps that we're making this during the spring season. I love the shade. I love purple like that. And again, of course, if you added more, you're going to get a little bit richer and deeper coloring to it. I'm going to get my spatula and scrape everything out. Has anybody in our audience today made ube before? I see somebody. It's a Bola. Hi. Welcome, welcome. Glad you're here. And if you join us later through the recording, hopefully you'll be able to join us live in the future. I know our busy schedules. That is what's nice about this series when they're recorded and you can watch them at your own leisure. We appreciate that. All right. Yes, that was a 0.97, which is basically 3% of the ube base that I put in that. So you can kind of, it was I had what, about 7 pounds. And again, I went a little light. I would say maybe even, 9.6, something a little bit less than the 9.7 or 3%. So maybe even like 2 point something percentage. All right, let's get her running, crank her up. I'm gonna stick with our settings. It's kept our settings from last time, and her product turned out so good, we're gonna leave it there. All right, so let me stick that in there. Another tip is too, if you can see when you pour this, if you're not doing your production, you have somebody else doing it, teach them, require them to wipe down their containers and your lids. Keep your work area neat, keep your ingredients neat and clean. It just makes life so much easier. I mean, the cost of the little paper towel that I'm using to wipe this up is nothing compared to getting it all over everything. And this purple could ruin something very easy. Again, why I'm wearing gloves. Okay. So again, Magic of TV, we're going to swap out our tables here. Move this one up. Get that bucket out of the way. We'll move our chocolate Dubai in. Advantage to rolling tables. So, and then we also have we've also put our pan into the hardening cabinet just to cool down, because remember, when we extract the base or the product from here, hitting a warm bucket is going to start that melting process immediately. So if you can, it's always advised to go ahead and chill down your container you're putting it out into. That's why you see us do that. It's just a good way to do it. Row pack buckets, same way, right? We have boxes. Boxes don't seem to be too bad because of the insulation side of cardboard. But all right. So here we are. We're in Dubai. So for Dubai, we're going to be kind of combining a couple products a little bit on this one. And again, this is just going to be like our rendition of Dubai chocolate. Again, it can be changed for your liking, but Pre-Gel offers a product that's already has the basic mix of that, what you eat when you bite into a Dubai bar. I tried to find a Dubai bar at the grocery store today, and I had no luck because I really kind of wanted one here to kind of maybe shave and put on top or show you all. But if you Dubai chocolate started, I believe, with the Fix company out of, it was an Egyptian woman, I believe, that invented it, and she came up with this flavor, and she called it "Can't Get Kanafa of It," is what the original name was, because the kanafa is, or kanafa, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. But the kanafa is a rich sweet cheese dessert made with and I always mess this up. It's a kalikiti, basically the phyllo, or almost like phyllo dough strings. And if you want to look for that, again, that's also in maybe a more cultural grocery store facility, going to be probably in the frozen area, and you can let that thaw out and chop that. But I believe it's made basically by dropping the water and cornstarch and things through a sieve, like that just makes the strings of it. So that way, when it bakes up, it creates that crunch, and that's what you're biting into. It was actually designed. She was pregnant, and she was. I found the interesting story. Finally, I was like, why is this so popular? But she found out she was pregnant, and she was craving the pistachios and I guess the katiki, the phyllo dough. Like I said, I mess that name up every time I look at it. I read it all the time. Kataifi, is that right? Kataifi, maybe. Thank you to Camille. So thinking about that, I just find it interesting. That's how it was, like that flavor combination was created. But then it went viral when somebody started eating it on Instagram or something like that. So here we are, still hanging in there. We still see it out and about. It does make an excellent ice cream. We've made Dubai here in our FDU classes quite a bit, and it just really does please the palate. You got a good chocolate base. You got pistachios, and today we're going to add a little chocolate crunch to it, just to add that crunchiness to it. But I do see a question, and it was going back to the ube. Now on the Maestro, we're going to run this at our 70, because it's using a low overrun blade, which technically, again, I make ice cream using a high overrun blade, but this machine only has the low overrun blade in it. We are literally in the process of putting up our beautiful wallpaper you see behind me here. And so it's the room behind us, behind the scenes, is torn apart. They're literally putting it up as we speak. So thinking about that, maybe next time we can get a high overrun machine so you can see the difference in the beater and maybe even the consistency. We'll try to do that in the future. So going back to the Dubai chocolate, I'm going to start. I've made a chocolate base here. And so as soon as I get ready to start that, it's telling me it's checking it. I can hear it when it clicks off the compressor like that. I know it's getting close. But I did start with a white base. I just added a chocolate paste that Pre-Gel offers, but you can start with any chocolate base that you have or that you're comfortable making. That's just where you start. So that's where I started here. I didn't think we needed to go through all that chocolate again to show you. Basically, you can see here, it's a really thick dark chocolate paste that they pre-make for us or for customers. And so it's a really good, it does make a good chocolate, but I will say it's not cheap. So because it's so good. So if you have a recipe that you're making your chocolate ice cream base with, go for it. Just start there. And then as far as the product here, if you're not familiar with Pre-Gel or haven't gotten a Pre-Gel product, you can take some pistachio paste, and I almost grabbed my pistachio paste I have at home, and I forgot. Pistachio paste, some white chocolate. Find yourself that kataifi. I think I said that right. So that is able to be used. We are using a Meadowvale base again. That's a 14%. That's where I'm comfortable with. I know again, that kind of goes, let me go back to that ube flavoring that we talked about. When I put that in a 14% base, I taste it, I'm happy with it. Now, if I were to switch to a 12%, there's machines done, 12% or 16% base, then I'm going to adjust that 0.97. I may have to do a different percentage to get the same flavor profile that I've been getting already, okay? So that is something to consider if you have a lower or higher butterfat ice cream base. All right, so saying extract. Again, didn't get to it in time, So you can see now Carpigiani already clicked it back on. It says, okay, I've stirred it. It's starting to melt. I registered it, got a little softer, and the compressor kicks back on to harden it back up for me. Love that feature. That's one of my all-time favorites because I'm always doing something else. I'm always across the room when the darn thing beeps. All right, okay, I got you. I got you. So we're going to go into our extract mode. Again, this one has a variable speed. So we're going to just let it come out at slow at first because I just want a little bit of control. I want to see how it's coming out. Oops, I don't want the chocolate spatula. Let me grab my ube spatula. Oop, got away from me a little bit. Sorry. So I'm just taking that and putting that in my pan. I'm not really, don't really want to press all the air I just put in it out, but I do want to spread it out. And there's only one way to do that, and that's give it a little bit of push. But you know, if you always, when you're scooping ice cream too, I see my kids trying to push it down in to the cup, and you don't want to do that. It pushes the air out. Keep it looking like fluffy and light. Let the air be in there. That's what makes it so good. I don't know. My mouth's watering, and I'm not, you know, I don't eat a lot of ube, but this just looks so good. And I love the consistency. That 70% is coming out just right on our machine here. And again, I think I've said this before, but your machines are all different. So if you think, you know, I'm doing 70 on this one, you try it at 70 on yours, and it's either too runny or too thick, then just adjust it a little bit. Go up a dial, down a dial. And if you don't have, are lucky enough to have a Carpigiani, then maybe on your machine, you're just going to have to kind of monitor to see, are you getting this consistency out? That might be a little harder to do based on, because you're using an ice cream or a high overrun beater, that's going to change a little bit too. All right, I'm going to speed it up just a little bit, make sure I get it all out. Now that I've got most of it out, and you can see it's kind of getting a little bit softer, a little bit more runny than it was. If you're doing an inclusion like we were doing last week a lot, we will do this with our Dubai chocolate as well. See how much was still hiding in there? This machine loves to hold on to ice cream. I've noticed that. So I always have to force it out because it thinks it's so good, it can't give it up. As you can tell, there's quite a bit still in there. But what I was saying is if you're working on an inclusion and you need a little bit more time and it's getting a little soft like this, you can actually turn the compressor back on. It'll automatically kick on for 20 seconds and then kick itself back off. And right now I'm trying to kind of get as much out of there as I can because I'm going to be doing that chocolate next. And honestly, folks, I could most likely go from ube right into chocolate without a rinse because this is a lighter flavor. It's still earthy. Chocolate's going to be kind of earthy too already. Just a different way, in a different way. If you're not, you know, secure on that, then just give it a quick rinse. Not going to hurt anything. Will slow your production down a little bit, but that's where we go back to thinking about our production schedule. I chose to do this one first because I know after the chocolate, it's a lot harder to clean the machine because I can run the chocolate behind this one and would probably be just fine. And that's why I wanted to get as much out of the machine as I possibly could. All right, go ahead and close up my door so I don't turn around and pour something in there and then have it come out on me. That would not be good. I got my ube table down here, so I'm going to put that back. All right, so in our pans, if you have a pan, I didn't really decorate that up at all. I didn't have anything. I looked for it today to put anything on ube. I tried. I'm going to give you a little hint of what I did in my shop because we like inclusions in ours. And I was reading up on ube, and so they said it's kind of that peanuts kind of fared well with it. I was like, okay, I'll try some peanuts and see. And some people like it. They like that crunch in there. So it's kind of, I put a little bit of a kind of like a peanut waffle cone sprinkle crunch in there. And I think that's another reason that the kids are really drawn to it because it's got these little sprinkles in it. And you could certainly add sprinkles to ube and make it a little bit more kid friendly and get them to try something new. And that's why I was telling you, like, if a kid says, I want that one, and it's the purple one, I'm like, would you like to try it? And I kind of force them to try it because I don't want them to get it and then say, I don't want it. That's not making anybody happy. So We've got our ube. Let's give it our taste. I pull off here because it's just coming over the side. Yeah, I really like that one. That's, to me, like I said, and that holds its flavor so well from, and usually I say when we go from the dairy base into our frozen product, the flavor changes, it kind of dwindles a little bit. I don't get that with this one. This tastes basically the same as it comes out as when I tasted it out of the bucket. That's a good thing. As Martha Stewart was like, that's a good thing. But we're gonna get this in the freezer because it is melting a little bit fast today. It's a little warm in here tonight. Or today, not tonight. I guess I'm ready for the night and go crawl back into bed. Oop. All right, we'll freeze that one up. Well, it looks good. I'm going to make sure I get some more. I missed out last week. I didn't get any of those, Olivia. And I was going to take a cup home to my missus, and she's like, "Did you bring me any?" Oh, I forgot. So I didn't get any of the cheese series to bring home, and it was gone by the time I came back last week. All right, back to Dubai chocolate. So got our base. What I was talking about is we put our chocolate base back in there, or we got it mixed up, ready to go. You can use any chocolate base you have. The what they're calling croquito croc pistachio is going to be in at an inclusion, or yeah, at the extraction, I'm going to be an inclusion. Sort of like if you did join us last week, where we layered in Andia's cream, what was that, tiramisu cream, and how she layered that in. We're going to do very similar with this today and layering this in. We're also going to try to add a little bit of a chocolate crunch, almost a stracciatella, sort of almost. They call it chocolate chip coating from Eat the Berco. So it's going to make more of a shavings or crunchy ribbon of ice cream or chocolate, sorry, in our ice cream. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just run this behind here because I don't think that that's going to hurt this. I think it might even add to it, which is kind of fun. So we're going to go right into the machine. In the purple, I'm not worried about purple because we're dealing with dark chocolate here, so that's not going to show up. The only other thing you would want to consider, and I'm not familiar with a sweet yam allergen. Chocolate can be an allergen itself, so maybe there's a sweet yam allergen. And if anybody knows about that, let me know. And we'll put a little warning on this so our employees here don't eat it if they're allergic to sweet yams. All right, so now I'm just going to make sure I get as much of this chocolate out of here. But one reason I'm showing you how to run right batch to batch without a rinse is because when you're doing your production schedule the right way, that's the way it should be done. If you think about your flavors, you do not have to do a lot of breaking apart, rinsing it, that maybe even to the point of sanitizing again. You want to make sure that your production is keeping moving as fast as it can, because at least if you have a shop and you're making your own ice cream. Now, if you're making it at home, what you might do there is invest in another little container that I know the creamy, if you're trying these on a creamy machine, I don't know how these recipes hold up on a creamy. I've not used it personally, since we have a batch freezer. But if you were to use a creamy, or if you're using a little Cuisinart at home, or a Breville, something like that, maybe invest in another insert that you can run two batches like this, where you got a one flavor that you don't want to contaminate the other flavor, or simply wash it. All right, let's get this one started again. All right, wake it up. Come on. There we go. And I'm going to run this as 70 as well, just like I did the ube, because I like that consistency for working with it, especially since I've got an inclusion that I'm going to be adding in, okay? Layering in our pistachio cream. I'm going to open this up and show you a little bit of this too. Also want to prepare, kind of get ready for that. Let's see if I do. No, it's not too dirty. Okay. So if you can see this on camera, I wanted to just kind of show you. I don't know if you can kind of zoom in on that one, Olivia. I know it gets a little blurry, and we're sorry about that. We're working on it. But you can kind of see how crunchy that is, kind of like It's not a smooth pistachio paste that you might use. It's already got everything included in it, which makes it really quick and easy. Not cheap, and it is delicious, but it makes it quick and easy. And so that is what we're going to be. I'm just going to open that jar. I opened this. It was brand new. I opened this one up, and I'm going to bring it back here with me when we get ready and just start to layer it like you saw Andia doing with her stuff last week. And then we'll add in our Eat the Berco chocolate chip coating, which gives a little bit more chocolate crunch to it as well. And that's just a moment to talk about this stuff here. This came in solid. So what I do is I just take the lid off, and there's a little metal piece in there. It's got some aluminum or metal on it that's covering a foil piece maybe. And I make sure to remove that. And then I do not put the lid back on generally. I just lay it in my microwave. I can't, because it's solid, I lay it in a bowl. The microwave here is probably about that high. So I just lay it in a bowl diagonally so that if it does boil over a little bit, if it gets too hot and comes out, the bowl catches it and you don't have a mess in your microwave. So that's a little tip too. But what you want to do is just melt that a little bit. You can shake it up, get that chocolate flowing in the bottle. So that it's ready to go. And it'll hold liquid form for this time that you're working on your product. It's not going to hold it forever, but if you get that like ready to go before you put your batch in the freezer, you will be fine. It'll be ready to, it's still liquidy here. I'm just, sometimes I shake it up and make sure it's still liquidy, not solid again, but eventually once it sits on the shelf, it'll turn solid again. Any other questions while we wait for our Dubai chocolate? This is pretty simple one today, really. I mean, we try to make it as simple as we can. The only addition I would make is like if you wanted to invite kids to try the ube a little bit more, throw some sprinkles in it. It's not going to, definitely not going to hurt the flavor. Then the Dubai chocolate, again, if you might get a Dubai chocolate bar, that's the only thing I wanted to do today, and I couldn't find one, is to shave off or chop up some and just sprinkle it on top when we're done. And I don't have that option today. It'll still be good because we've had this product before, and it is really good. All right. So do we know, Olivia, what we're doing next month yet? Or has that been decided? Yeah, it always helps me. I don't get a chance to look. I'm too busy. So we have not made, and one of the questions might be, have you done a Dubai? I have not done a Dubai chocolate in my shop yet. I've done it before here in class with students, but I've not had a chance to do it. I'm going to. We've been talking about it. I've literally had, I think I mentioned a month or so ago, pistachio I was waiting for that to come in. So we finally got that in. So now I can do some of this. And I found a pistachio cream. And I think that's the difference, really. I use a pistachio butter for my pistachio ice cream, but a pistachio cream already has the sugars and stuff in it. And my wife and I found one we just can't get enough of. So it's not a good thing, but we could certainly use that to make this if we could find the phyllo dough. I've got to find that little kataifi. I think I said it right. I think I got to find that locally and see if I can make my own.
So it's on May 12th, and it's make your own mix. We're gonna do honey, vanilla bean, and strawberry.
Ooh, sounds good to me. Okay, so April, yeah, I know. She told me. I'm sorry. I'm listening to it. April 12th, Olivia? May 12th. I'm sorry. Yeah, here we are in April. So this year is going flying by. May 12th, we're going to do a make your own mix. Okay, interesting. And then we're going to make honey vanilla bean, honey vanilla bean and a strawberry with that. So that'll be a good one for summer, both of those. In fact, I have a partner, we have a collaboration with a local honey. So if you have a local honey apiarist, that'd be a technical term for it, in your area, they're great to partner with, and then you feature their honey in your ice creams. So I'll be working to see if I can get some of our local honey to use in our product next month. All right. As I say, it doesn't take long. I think it's they generally say about 7 minutes, and that was probably about that time. All right. So we'll get you extracting here. So our pan, I want to get this stuff over and closer to me. I sometimes use that door as a shelf. And I'm not going to say I'm going to be neat on this. When I work quickly, and sometimes it splatters everywhere. So Olivia, watch out if you're over here. So again, you hear it click, kick on, which I'd like, but we're gonna go ahead and extract it. And again, I can close that door too a little bit, grab my chocolate spatula real quick, because I want, again, just like we did last week. Boy, you are just wanting to escape today. Like I did last week, um, I got a little more control if I close that door, and it's still ready extracted. It's not freezing right now. It's just turning it. So I've got a layer of chocolate in there. And again, I think I forgot to put a layer of this pistachio cream on the bottom, which is what I would normally do. So we're going to layer this in just like we did last week. And I'm trying not to touch my ice cream with that spatula because I don't want that to go back in. But you can see, sort of like we did last week, I'm just adding a little bit and I am putting it in. And since I got such a thick layer, I didn't get any on the bottom. I really wish I had, but it'll be okay. It'll be okay. So now we're going to come back with our chocolate coating and just drizzle that in there. So that kind of adds a little bit of extra chocolate crunch. And then we're going to extract again. So this is a 3-step. This is one of the more complicated flavors. You see how it's getting a little soft? Let's see if I can hit that back into freezer. I know my machine does that. I'm not sure about Mr. Maestro here, though. All right, so trying to work as fast as I can. Andrea said she has a twofer. She has somebody come by and help her with this. That's a good thing. All right. Yeah, I don't want to do it. Risk dripping it everywhere. I went a little heavier on that layer just because I didn't get one to the bottom. I'll just keep repeating this process. Because remember, as you scoop into this, yeah, it should have gone a little bit frozen a little bit more. As you scoop into this, you're going to scrape into some of those other layers. So I estimate sometimes that since I'm using it right out of the bucket like this, and somebody asks you, how much do you use? It just kind of really, you have to eye it. I would guess probably about 2 cups maybe total, sometimes a little bit more. So hand needs to be just a little bit further back. And I forgot my chocolate on that layer, didn't I? Oh, coming out fast. Go ahead and turn it off. But it's getting a little soft for me. My machine, I can kick the compressor back on. Mr. Maestro here. There it goes. Stop. So let's see. This one we're going to go to pistachio. So you just got to remember what's the step because I forgot one. It happens. It happens. I don't think it's going to affect everything in the end. Now you could obviously weigh this, knowing this was a new batch, weigh that and then weigh it again. And then you'll definitely get a usage level out of that. That's what's nice about making them here, though. I don't have to worry about that. All right. Okay, so I'm going to stop there with both of those. Got most of that out of the machine because it was definitely getting liquidy towards the end. Now, I would have possibly need to, I'm just telling you kind of from experience, as I look back and reflect on this, I've made this maybe it's your first time making it, and you say, okay, I'll grab that, thank you. Maybe you'll say, okay, well, that was a little too soft. I need it a little bit more firm so that I can work with it a little longer. Oh, big old clump. Sorry about that, guys. And so running that one at maybe 90, 100 would have worked a little bit better for us, just to give us more time. It will still be delicious. I'm sorry? Yes, can I use the same inclusion method with pre-gel pistachio paste in a piping bag? Yes, absolutely. This would work beautiful in a piping bag, just like Andia showed us last week. Very, very good. I am used to kind of just grabbing it and going with it. So we have some piping bags at our facility, but I don't have a lot of them, and I try to use them a little sparingly, I guess. I don't know. It's just the frugal side of me comes out. All right, so it turns out pretty. It's going to freeze up nice for sure. And I'm going to just try a little bit, make sure I kind of get a little bit of everything there. Drip it all over me. Definitely has a nice crunch. Mm. Like I said, it's going to be good no matter what it looks like. I can still feel the crunch. I get a taste of that doughy crunch. It's not strong on pistachio. It still kind of has that chocolate, which is really kind of, if you think about it, what you want. And we'll let that freeze up a little bit. And that's the one thing I wish that we could do. And maybe if you kind of watch for Olivia, tell me if I'm wrong, but are you taking it and scooping it up for the pictures on? Okay, great. So look for the picture when you see the thing on YouTube or wherever you want to go back and rewatch it. They kind of show you what they've decorated. They do such a great job at that. At the beginning of your video, there's a picture that advertises the series basically, and the flavors that we're making today are featured in that picture. I went back and I looked at the couple that we had, and they look so good on especially the Valentine's one. Looked really good. So look for that, and you'll kind of see how they look scooped up and look pretty like that, because I'm sure that's going to be just fine. So any other questions that you have? This is actually kind of a little shorter one today. We kind of maybe ending about 10 or 15 minutes earlier today. Maybe make up for our technical difficulties from before. But these are not hard flavors, folks. We did increase the level of hardness of last week with Andia. And if you're up for that challenge, fantastic. We'll be probably doing a few more of something a little bit harder. But we also want to show you how to make an easy flavor. They're trendy, but they're not hard to do. So keep that in mind. It's not something that you need to shy away from. Give it a try. You'll never know. Any last minute questions? All right. Well, we do appreciate you joining us, taking time out of your busy schedules to join us today and watch. Hopefully you got something out of this one. Give Ube or Dubai chocolate a try on your own, and we'll be excited if you rejoin us. Please share that you've given these flavors a try. It helps us know that we're actually making, I don't say making a difference isn't the right, it's not a little too powerful, but influencing you a little bit to try things. So thank you, Camille and Cecile, and we will see you all next month, May 12th.